Hi, everybody. My name is Odell Edwin Harmon Jr. I am from Houston, Texas, which is cool because I feel not a lot of game journalist personalities are from the South, so I feel proud about that. My gaming career started, I guess, kind of junior, senior in college, where I hit this wall of do I try to become a doctor or do I do something crazy and try to play video games for a living?
Right. That's a probably a very hard conversation to have with yourself.
It is an extremely hard conversation to have with yourself, but I chose the path less traveled, so to speak, and went for my personal happiness. And that wasn't easy because after I made the decision, I completely freaked out. Uh, I panicked. I didn't cry, but I panicked. Crying would have probably been a lot easier solution to what I was doing at the time.
Right.
But by like the grace of God, I got an offer for an internship with Game Informer, which was fun because I used my school email, and since I was getting ready to graduate, I became less and less accustomed to checking it. So the email was like 2 weeks old before I opened
Oh,
it, and I was like, "Oh God, how dare I make them wait?"
right. Yeah. I'm sure they were just like, is this guy actually gonna want to join on? Or
Yeah, and
yeah.
so Matt Miller, I contacted him, and before he could even explain anything, I remember I told him I accept, and he was like, "No, you need to think about this." He's like, "It's not paid." He's like, "Usually we have people who live in Minneapolis or around the area." He's like, "We've never." Now they have, but at the time, because I was like one of the originals to do it, he was like, "We've never had anyone actually traverse the country to do this." So he was like, and we don't provide any type of compensation.
Right.
So he's like, think about that. Because he's like, if I was in Houston and if I was you, I wouldn't do it. Because
Yeah.
by the time the internship started, I officially graduated. So it was either like, look for a job or, somehow pack up and go live on the other side of the country.
Yeah. That must have been a nerve-wracking experience at first.
Oh, it definitely was. Luckily, I was able to get a bartending job relatively
Hmm.
quickly. So the urge of how I pay for things that kind of went out the window. And Minnesota's a good state because wait staff gets paid the state minimum wage, so they don't do like that whole $2 an hour thing.
Yeah, it's like in here
So
in Georgia they have that. They have that. It's not great.
yeah, so yeah, here in Texas, yeah, wait staff makes like $2 an hour plus tips, but there I made
Yeah.
$10 an hour plus tips. So
Oh,
yeah, I was
dang.
living large.
Nice. And that was the Game Informer internship. That was after the battalion, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I wrote at the battalion in college. Oh man, not a lot of people know that. Yeah, I
Oh,
wrote
I
for
did
that.
my research. I did my
Oh
research.
man, whoa. Yeah, so the Battalion actually was a newspaper that I wrote for in college, and that's how I got my first game experience. They didn't have a game section, and I was like, "Let me do game reviews," and they were
Mhm.
like, "I guess." And so
Yeah.
I wrote game stuff. Nintendo actually mailed us a copy of Skyward Sword because that was
Mhm.
the game at the time. I reviewed that. I should probably look that up. I haven't read it since I wrote it, so it's probably like mega trash.
No, I mean you gotta start somewhere. I saw that video though of you opening it up, just like to the camera, like, oh, here we go.
How did you, man? Like, I can't even find that.
No, I mean like I'm just trying to figure out, this whole because I'm brand new at doing this, so I'm just trying to, do as much as I can and prepare.
Oh man,
Um,
you're doing way more than me. I was just kind of fumbling around in the dark.
I actually read one of the articles you posted. It was called "Gameplay More Important Than Graphics."
Uh-huh.
Um, that's something that like even now I was like reading it and just still relevant, today. Um, would you say the same thing, especially considering a lot of AAA developers are just like, yeah, single player games, who needs them, and you know,
Of course, I am one to always argue that single player games are more important than multiplayer games because I feel like single player games are the ones that push gaming forward.
yes,
And graphics over, well, we're at the point now where I can't excuse something of Wii quality.
right,
Back then I could. Now there's no excuse. But
right,
yes, at the end of the day, if your gameplay sucks, I mean, what's the point of playing the game?
right, yeah, yeah. I had that issue with some, yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. So you're at the Game Fanatics now, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. How you liking that?
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. They give me creative freedom to do what I want to do, which I appreciate. And honestly, it's my hot ticket into events like E3 and PAX. So
Yeah.
I can't bite the hand that feeds me.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny is I was at PlayStation Experience last year, and at the time I was kind of doing something similar to what I am now, but not nearly as like in depth. And I saw that you went as well.
Oh, I did. That was my first time. I don't know how many. That was my personal first time. So
Really, yeah.
yeah,
It's great. I love it. Um, so yeah, I kind of want to talk about like just because I obviously heard about you when you did the interview with Greg Miller on Kind of Funny Gamescast. Um, that was what kind of you know like your conversation with him inspired me of how just like you're devoted to this. Like, I mean, you did walk away from a career being a doctor to do this. So I mean, you like it just inspired me to like start doing it myself.
yeah.
So what was that like? Like the process of not only being a part of the interview, but like co-hosting and like what was it like the atmosphere?
So it was real funny because so off camera, they're regular people like me and you, and I think that's most of the games industry.
Yeah.
Like Greg does have a personality, but when he's off camera, like his personality goes down like 5 notches,
Yeah.
and not in a bad way. It's just like, hi, I'm an adult. I can talk in a regular voice and introduce myself.
And not summon Satan when he's playing Nidhogg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not disingenuous. Like he's still that same person. It's just at a more calm level. And
Yeah.
they do things like we do. Like they'll take a break and like, oh, hold on, let's take this selfie. And they'll pose and be like make a face and be all animated. And they'll stop and be like, all right, hey, does this look good? Yeah, all right, I'm posting this to Instagram. All right. Like the conversations they have is the same conversations you would have with your friends about like taking a photo or playing games or the atmosphere of what your friends are like before the live stream versus during the live stream.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
it really, I already knew this because of Game Inform, but it humbled me again that that they are amazing at what they do, but what they do is not out of the realm of what me and you can do. It inspired me again that you know we can do it. We gotta have the personality and the drive and stuff, but ultimately that's what it comes down to. It is the drive to do it, which is kind of how I got there in the first place. Which I kind of call myself like a gamer groupie
Hmm.
because a lot of my opportunities while I was at PAX, E3s, whatever, I kind of just hung around where like there's always a hot spot at a con, and that's been my mission to find it, like where the big guys go to chill. Like there's always a bar that they always go to. There's always a hotel. There's always an area, and I found this out just going because someone told me. And if you just hang around at like the right spot
Hmm.
long enough, you eventually see people
Yeah.
And every time I saw someone, whether it was intentional, like I was waiting at like the cool kids bar where everyone tells me that's where everyone goes, or
Yeah.
or just seeing them in the hallway. I always made sure to be like, "Hi, my name's Odell.
Hmm.
You don't know me, but I know you because you do stuff.
Right.
Here's my card." And sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let's have a conversation." And then I kept doing that to the point where I won't embarrass myself or them. Like I introduced myself to the same high up person. They were like, it was like, Odell, I get it by now. I know who you are. And then I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But at the same time, that made me feel good that
Right. Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
yeah,
That's great. Yeah. Like I haven't had as much, experience as that, like going to conventions and everything. My PlayStation experience was my first one I've ever went to. It was crazy. Like, you see the little booth in the background, like on the side, where you can kind of see into it. You see all of the writers, the hosts for like IGN and all that. Like, can I just sneak in there maybe just a little bit and talk to them? But probably not. Um, but yeah, so what has been a moment in your life that just gaming has just completely changed your life for the better and you know pushed you towards following this career?
uh, personally, there were some key moments there. I'll say my first biggest gaming moment was when I beat the Elite Four for the first time in the original Pokemon, Red, Blue, Yellow.
Hmm.
this may sound silly, but that was the first time in my life I felt like I truly accomplished something. It wasn't something that wasn't, handed to me.
Right.
Because, the Pokemon games, you train your Pokemon, you get better. And
Mm-hmm.
that was my first instance. I couldn't beat the Elite Four, so I trained and I learned types. And when I finally did it, like, and just because, you put your name in there, it's like, Odell, you did this. It made me feel so accomplished. Like, nothing else in my 8 years of life mattered until that point. And I thought it was weird, so I never told no one. And then the older I got, I realized that, like, more, like, video games gave people purpose. Like, beyond
Yes.
me, it was, I felt that there was something special because, like I said, I didn't want to talk about it initially because I felt weird that, digital achievements meant something. But the more, like, I went through, like, school and stuff, I saw that other people also felt this way. And then I played Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to, like, cry in a movie or anything. But, like, at the end of the game, I bawled extremely hard.
Yeah.
And, I could generically say, oh, it got me through the rough times in life because, some people read books and some people do, sports and stuff. So none of that. Like, it did, but that was very generic. Like, I was just a kid and that was just my outlet. But when I had my internship at Game Informer, that was the key moment where that drives me today because you always hear, work a job that you love and it never feels like work and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And up until that point, I kind of believed it, but I thought it was just something, you just say just because it sounds nice and it inspires you.
Tries to get you through to the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, when I saw Reiner and Andy and all the editors, they truly loved what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They truly loved it. And I can't really explain what it was like to see people loving what they do and doing something. I know video games, it doesn't sound like work. I mean, it's a lot of hard work because, me and you both know that it really is.
It is.
But to see people be like, even on like the worst day there was better than the best day at any other job-related thing I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And the pure joy of watching people in those environments, like there's no real, there's scandals happening anywhere, but like no one hates each other.
Right.
No one's like feeling like they're doing too much because everything someone wants to do. It's more like people are fighting for work,
Yeah.
Like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And just that environment that there were sometimes I felt like, is it too lax? Like, this can't be work. Like, it's almost too perfect.
Right.
This is too great of an environment to come to every morning and have people, like, not gossiping and it. And then I was just like, man, it was like I went to Mount Olympus. I saw how the gods live. And after that, like, the mortal life wasn't possible.
Right.
And so every job I've worked since then, I always get the feeling of, it's blue collar or, it's, brown nosing and being snakes in the grass and working your way up. And I'm not saying the game industry is, immune to that. Of course, there's been scandals and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's more of a personal thing. That was like that person. And I know I'm repeating myself. But that was just it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, that's one of the reasons that I started doing Trophy Unlocked is to share people's stories like that and to prove to like the people outside of the internal ecosystem, like, the mainstream media and all that. Like, granted, I'm not anywhere as, big enough to reach them, but like, it's to give those kinds of people like an understanding that just because there are violent video games and there are violent people, it doesn't necessarily mean that, all video games are bad. Like, it's good for people. Like, it gives people escapism, which is in today's, political, social climates, it's necessary,
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, like, because honestly, people like you are better than I was or might even be right now because something a lot of people don't know, I'm dyslexic, like, horribly. Like, if you have my phone number and we text, you would probably hate reading my text. Like, it is really hard for me to, like, spell correctly, use proper grammar. And some of my older writings, because you looked it up, like, it's a lot easier to tell than now. I got better.
Mm-hmm.
So before I worked for the paper, I never wrote before. Before I got to Game Informer, I never used proper style before.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I'm doing, like, I always tell people, I'm not a writer by trade. Like, as crazy as that may sound, I'm not a writer by trade. I can probably say, unless school made me, I've never finished a book cover to cover on my own.
Yeah.
Everything I've done or accomplished, quote unquote, because in my mind we're in the same bucket. Either you made it or you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Like we may be like in the middle at different stages, but the way I see it, I'm still not working at IGN. I still got to go to work 9 to 5 like everyone else. So I'm not any better than anyone, but it truly makes me feel that I can make it because everything I've done has been pushed through passion. I learned how to write. I learned how to be on video. I've learned everything that I've done gaming-wise has been through peer. This is my only way in. So I'm not gifted in any way. Like I said, I don't know how to write, or I do now, but I didn't. Right. I didn't know how to video edit. Like, all my video stuff, that is recent. That is, like, within the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at all my videos and stuff, like, trust me, like, they're all within a year and a half, minus the ones at Game Informer, in which case I didn't do anything but just show up, and then someone else took care of that problem. So if you're editing, I would say if you're editing, making camera live streaming, you probably have more technical know-how than me. So in my mind, if you know more than me and can do more than me, and have I done it, then you can do it.
Yeah, I understand that, definitely. But I mean, yeah, your personality is definitely something that I think also contributes to your, success as well. I mean, it's weird because when I see you doing your podcast with Jared, right?
Yeah, Jared.
Like, it just seems like y'all are just hanging out, having a conversation about video games, and like, it's people can relate to that. They just want to experience that. And gaming is as a whole, a lot of the people in that community probably feel, pushed aside or like outcasted, and that gives them a chance to, be a part of a conversation.
Exactly. One of the reasons I really hope I make it, there's no promise in this life, but I really, want to make it at the IGN level, so to speak, mm-hmm. because I've been there. Like, I know what it's like to see these people. I see them at cons. I see them on, my computer screen, mm-hmm. and they're great at what they do, but they feel like so untouchable. Like, they feel so, the diction they use, the words they use, and I've always told myself, I try to speak proper. I try to, sound educated about mm-hmm. games, but even in my writing, I've never been one to like use too far advanced vocabulary right. or use the greatest simile ever formed, elegantly. I've always wanted to just be grounded in, I want to write and produce how, just like sound full circle. It's just like we're talking about games, because we are. Yeah. It's not scripted. Don't tell me. Don't tell no one.
I won't say anything.
Because I want to bridge this gap that, you don't have to be some finely tuned, gorgeous person that, uses eloquent language and all this diction, that you can just be a passionate person about games. And that's why I think my thing is I resonate with gamers, because, like, I don't try to ever separate myself that I've achieved some level of success. I've seen what the other side of the fence, the grass is greener, that I lose, that I'm just someone who likes games, and I like it enough to, give it my all to get to, that highest peak.
Yeah.
Which is, I kind of feel like, where Greg Miller, Greg Miller, that's half of his appeal is that, he's so zany and animated, and why they succeeded ultimately because they were so different from, the, suit and tie, professional, throwing out, names. Oh, this is the producer, the game designer who also worked on the 12,000 other games and stuff, because a lot of people are intimidated by that language. They're like, oh, I didn't know that. Should I know that? Am I a horrible person that I didn't know he produced like those 5 other games that I kind of remember playing in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, that stuff is good. By all means, I'm not saying that's bad, but
right.
There's a certain level of professionalism where, you make the average gamer or person feel like, their input or their ideas is not important. Because the only difference I feel between, us, IGN, or someone who doesn't do it at all is that they just have a platform where when they speak, people listen.
Yep.
And I just, like I said, again, I want to get there. So, I always tell, if someone looks at me and say, damn, I have better insight than that guy, or I could do it better than the guy, and then, man, more power to you. Let that drive you to be better than me and make it there too.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I agree with you. It's I think the whole, you know, games journalism shtick is kind of changing now. It's like, and not even just games journalism, but really a lot of things ever since, the internet is becoming this, necessary thing. And a lot of people are learning, like for me, like I didn't go to college. I didn't, learn all this stuff at school. Like I had to just learn how to do it. But the one thing I've always been passionate about has been gaming. I've been confused about what I want to do in my life, as probably most people have. um, but the one thing that's been consistent throughout my entire life is video games. I'm not an artist, so I couldn't make them, but I just love talking about them. And like talking about them with people like you and like a few other people I've been talking to, it's just gratifying to hear other people's stories and how gaming has affected them in a positive way.
Yeah. The thing I always found funny, you try to tell people, well, I don't make the games. And they're like, well, so you're an artist. Oh, I don't draw. Wait, so what? I just want to they'll talk about them critically and review them, analyze it. Like, that's stupid. Doesn't make sense. What are you doing? I'm like, but no one questions ESPN. Everyone
Right.
really understands what goes on there. I'm like, they're not the coach. They're not the players. They aren't playing the sports. They aren't trading the team. They literally have no say in the organizations. But you're not questioning them, just sitting in the chair talking about them as they happen.
Exactly.
And then it's like you watch the game on Sunday, and you watch literally a week worth of people just talking about it and analyzing it.
Mm-hmm.
And no point do you question that I'm not actually watching football, nor am I playing football. I'm just watching people analyze and talk about football.
Right. That's the exact same thing.
Yeah, and I was telling it's just the same thing with games. And the disconnect, there's but even movies, you'll watch a 45-minute interview about this movie. That's 45 minutes of not watching the movie.
Right. That's fair. That is very fair. No, yeah, my dad is obsessed with the ESPN sports, so I understand that. I'm just sitting back and yeah, you're literally doing the exact same thing that I'm doing.
The medium's just different.
Yeah, right. And one's just more mainstream, one's just more, controversial, I guess. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add or anything?
I mean, not really. If your followers want to follow me, they can do that. Odell Harmon Jr. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever have you. And I am not so big to where I get thousands of replies a day, so I pretty much reply to anyone who wants to tweet at me or anything like that. If I ever make it big time, I can't promise that, because if I legit are one of those people that get thousands a day, then
Hey, you gotta speak it. You gotta speak it into existence. You will get there.
I will get there. You're right. I'll be that guy who responds to every email. It'll be I was like, if you email me, it might be a week, it might be a month, but I will get to you.
Hey, that's a commitment. All right, so it's Odell Harmon Jr. consistently through all social media?
Yeah, Odell Harmon Jr., Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any social media that's a social media, it's that.
Gotcha. I'll make sure to add that on there.
Yeah, and then if you can't find me, then chances are I'm not on 4chan or anything.
Got you. I got you. Okay. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If I ever make it big, feel free to share it, and I'll retweet it out. I'm all about you gotta help people up along with you.